Are we talking about a game today? We thought we would try something new today.
Talking about a game.
We're going to talk about a video game.
Ooh.
Yeah. The game is Into the Breach.
What?
Into the Breach. Is that not the game you played? You played a different game.
Yeah, I played out of the...
Guys, he played the wrong game.
I'm going to do the same thing I tried to do with Outer Wilds, where it was
Nope, didn't work then. Not going to work this time either.
Entertain or whatever it was, and now?
Inner Peace. Into the Breach.
Into the Breach. Tell me about
It's
it.
a game. It was developed and published by Subset Games, and it's only their second game after the very well-regarded FTL, which I have to admit I have not played.
I have not either.
But after playing this game, you better
I
believe
still won't play it.
you better believe my interest has gone way up.
Oh.
Way up.
They earned your patronage.
They sure did. They have a fan. And a very important fan.
He wields much power.
Much power in the industry. This game was released for Microsoft Windows in February of 2018, and for Mac OS, Nintendo Switch in 2018, and also for Linux in April of 2020. Not sure why I put the Linux thing on there, but
That's
there you
important
go.
to me.
Just a two-person studio. Justin Ma and Matthew Davis,
Wow.
with music by Ben Prunty, and also writing by Chris Avallone, who is a pretty big deal. Are you familiar
I'm not.
with Mr. Avallone?
I assume he is of Arthurian legend with that
Very
name.
much so. Very much so. He's a scholar of Arthurian times. No, he's worked for Interplay and Obsidian and has written for games including Planescape Torment and Fallout, including the much beloved New Vegas, and also games like Icewind Dale, Pillars of Eternity, Divinity, Original Sin 2. So he's written for some big, heavy hitters.
So is he mostly just like a dialogue writer?
Well,
is there a
we'll
story
get into that
element?
because there's not a ton of writing in this game.
Right. His job was
but
easy.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? I should mention, maybe I shouldn't, he was accused of some sexual misconduct in June of 2020. I don't know anything about that, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about it. Let's just keep this moving on. Let's talk about the game. Give me your thoughts, your overall verdict on this game.
This?
Garbage?
It's not garbage. It's not like the garbage island in the game.
Detritus?
Yeah. This is a good game. And it's an interesting game in that it's very simple, but you can spend quite a bit of time on it. This is apparently a thing for me now, is this is the second game I have 100%ed in Steam achievements.
Achievement whore.
That's right. Since we
Achievement
started
whore.
this podcast. So this joins Hades and To the Moon as my only 100% of games.
Now you know you have to do 100%
On
every time.
Every game.
You have some momentum now.
That's right. But yeah, so I loved it. I think we'll kind of get into this, but it's a very pure game, a very simple but elegant game. And I have some juicy topics to talk about.
I just have 3 words to review this game. You ready?
Out.
No. Here it is.
Okay.
Chess is dead. We don't need it anymore.
Goodbye, chess.
It's boring. It's stupid.
Sorry, Magnus.
Magnus Carlsen.
You've wasted your life.
You've wasted your life because we have Into the Breach now. No, this game is, I really love this game. I got to say, one thing that doing this podcast has made me realize is I really enjoy challenging turn-based combat. It might be like one of my favorite types of games, which it wasn't something I really realized. It's kind of hard to find, really.
Yeah.
But difficulty in this genre usually equates to every decision you make being important. And that's something this game delivers, and I just love it. It just feels so great to get good at this game.
Yeah.
And that is so central to what a well-designed game should provide. what was difficult is now, if not trivial, at least seems manageable. And it at least seems there's always a path forward. You may have to make sacrifices like in chess, but there's always a path forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of become a theme with us as far as having you grow with the game is kind of part of the experience, and that's part of the process of enjoying it.
It should be.
Right.
That's not always the case. I do feel like some games are too easy.
Right.
Where you can kind of glide through the whole experience without much resistance at all. But I think with the indie community, there's been a return to that intentional difficulty, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'll probably keep this game installed forever. For one, it takes up like zero
Right.
drive
It's like
space, but
8 bits.
it's very easy to just drop back into and play a few matches. And just obviously the replayability is great.
I also like any game where you can go from not playing it to playing it in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, very
It's like,
quickly.
oh, start up the game and it's running and I'm playing it.
And I'm in. I'm hacked into the mainframe.
We haven't described the genre of this game yet.
That's right, we haven't.
Lay it on me. What is this?
This game, I would say it's a turn-based strategy game played on an 8x8 grid. And
yeah, an isometric
yes,
8x8 grid.
Yeah. And the thing about this game really is the enemy consistently outnumbers you and is generally stronger than you, but you have the advantage of perfect knowledge of exactly what is going to happen every turn.
Before we go down this rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
what game have you played in your life that is closest to this game?
Man, I really don't know. I can't.
I do.
What? That I played?
know. Yeah.
You know me better than I know myself?
I think the closest game I've played to this is Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, that's true, because that's on a grid as well, isn't it?
It's on a grid. It kind of involves this
yes.
terrain.
But this is much more small numbers.
Yes.
It's
simpler.
There's
in a
more
lot of ways.
clarity. Yeah, that's true. That is probably the closest, but it is still quite different in a lot of ways.
It is. I just kind of call that out as, so, if you're on the fence about, oh, should I play this game, and you have experience with Final Fantasy Tactics and liked it.
Yeah.
It's kind of that's the closest game.
That's probably true. That's such a messy game. There's like all these classes and abilities and big numbers and blah, blah, blah.
Big numbers, scary.
This is a very elegant and clean kind of game.
Oh yeah.
But again, what I was saying is the central thing to this is, again, you have perfect knowledge of exactly what is going to happen at every turn, complete with turn order, etc. And your job is basically to use all the tools you have at your disposal to mitigate damage to the structures and to complete any other objectives, while, of course, trying to inflict damage on the Vec. But you know every detail. Again, there's no question.
There's one question.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I would love to hear this.
Okay, so this is actually kind of what I wanted to talk about anyway.
And I'd love to say why you're wrong.
We're just going to dive right in here. So the big...
Hey, we're moving on to the gameplay part of the section.
And it's kind of almost maybe a subsection that we're going to kind of talk about.
A subsection of a section.
Of the game developer subset. Is that what it is? Subset, sorry. Apologies to the two people who made that studio.
Listen to this. They're not listening.
But there's a concept of input and output randomness. Have you heard about this?
That was the sound of an airplane flying over my head. No.
So this is kind of interesting because I was thinking about this a lot and kind of was doing some research on what people thought of this. But essentially, input randomness is anything that is presented to you in a game before you make a choice. Okay, so the movement of the Vec, right? You're not in control of that.
Sure.
And it is, quote unquote, random to you as an input to your choices.
Mm-hmm.
Output randomness is the probability that you will succeed or fail after you've committed to an action. Okay. So in D&D, right, you would roll a dice.
There's a lot of output randomness. In this game,
virtually none, with the one exception of you can commit to a Vec allowing to attack a building, and it has a percentage chance of it being
that is
resisted.
that's a good point. Okay.
Right,
Okay. I'm an idiot.
Yes.
Way to
I've
make me look like an
converted
idiot.
you. Yes.
No, that is true.
But I think
That mechanic, if I may interject
Yeah.
for a moment, it reminds me of another mechanic I love, which is the affliction virtue thing in Darkest Dungeon.
right. Yep.
And man, it's not quite as good as that. Because when you hit a virtue in Darkest Dungeon, oh man, does that feel good.
Well,
But-
that was especially, yeah, I mean, losing a person in Darkest Dungeon is like awful. So
yeah.
having the virtuous and being
When someone hits
triggered is
virtue,
like-
you just
yeah.
never ever want that person to die, and
Yeah.
you love them forever. In this game, a clutch resist can be pretty awesome.
yes, I'm certain that it would have lost at least one game without a resist.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can't lose one more power node or whatever they're called, it's a pretty. I love that kind of. It's a simple mechanic, but it adds so much to the game.
You know, so it's interesting that you mentioned that because a lot of people online, when I was reading and researching this, were kind of referring to output randomness as like the shitty one, and oh, that's the one that sucks. But I think that
It's good. I'm glad it's in here.
well, and I think they're both important in very different ways. Like there can be a lot of pleasure to be had
yeah.
by not knowing. In fact, if you look at the games we played, Disco Elysium was essentially all output
It can
randomness.
be so good.
yeah,
What D&D would be
Right.
nothing without it.
right. D&D is wholly dependent upon it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole modifier system. You do have
Right.
some impact, but
Right, absolutely. But and the thing is, maybe with good output randomness, you know the probability though. That's the thing for a lot of them. Some of them you don't even know the probability of your action succeeding or failing.
It's right.
I think that would be different.
The game should tell you the equation in play.
Right. So into the breach here, yes, that we have a 30% chance of resisting the attack. Right. That's valuable, and it's
or
you know.
it's modifiable. You can increase
Right.
it
Yeah.
in various ways, but
Yeah, but I thought it was an interesting distinction because I'd never really thought about it in
Yeah, I
those
haven't
terms
either.
before.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how, too, if you start analyzing the different games that you've played, there's a very wide variety of
Yeah.
where randomness inputs into the game
I would agree that games that are too dice rolly are annoying.
Yeah. So, not to get us on too much of a tangent, but
It is so central to RPGs in general.
oh yeah,
Yeah, huh.
absolutely. In a card game, not to get us into Magic the Gathering territory, but
God damn it, we're talking about Magic again.
and just by talking about it, we've somehow spent money on it. I don't know.
Just they charged it. They're going to charge us.
Wizards found out, and now they're anyway. So in Magic the Gathering, one of the most popular formats is called Commander, which is a 100-card deck where you only have one of each card. And I think it's interesting that became a more popular format compared to the 60-card decks where you can have 4 of every card, because it has way more randomness to your
Sure.
card draw, and
Yeah.
it makes it more casual and kind of less competitive and less skilled, maybe.
Yeah.
But it enhances that randomness aspect of it in a way that's
Maybe
actually
more
more
exciting.
fun, more exciting to
Yeah.
play.
Hmm.
I mean, in Magic, that's kind of particular because it also means you get to play some cards that you wouldn't ordinarily get to. But I just think it's interesting that the one that is more random is more popular now.
Yeah. When I compare this to other RTS, or this isn't a real-time strategy, I guess it's turn-based, but when I compare this to RTS games, it feels totally different. It really does feel more like a board game.
Yes, totally.
Which, how do you feel about the grid base? I mean, I think it's kind of necessary because it contributes to the visual clarity of knowing what's going to happen. I kind of thought it might turn some people off.
You mean just the fact that it's on a board,
a
essentially?
grid.
Yeah.
It looks kind of old-fashioned.
It's a static board that you're
Right.
looking at. I mean, static. It's not actually static. There are things that can modify the board,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not like you're gonna move or do anything like that. With the one exception of the finale, where you kind of drop down
drop
through the floor.
down.
That's kind of cool.
Seismic activity, baby.
Yeah, incoming. We're sending in additional power pylons, remote.
That mean lady. What's her name?
Kerm,
CEO Kern.
Jessica Kern.
Yeah.
Kern's Folly. Did you see that one of the stages is called Kern's Folly?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so there's a couple that reference different characters.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Did you feel like the squads were balanced in this game?
They're all very different, which I really actually do
Yeah.
appreciate. The play styles for them all are very different as far as like some are very defensive, some are very offensive, some are very position oriented. I know
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that you thought the steel judoka
They
were
suck. Garbage.
but I
garbage
liked
tier.
playing them.
They are. I will say they are all viable. You can beat the game
Yes,
with any of them.
you can beat the game with any of them, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my favorites. Did you have any squads you felt were like too powerful? Any units or squads or pilots or anything?
So this is kind of funny. I was trying to do the achievement where you have to do 3 of the same mech.
Uh-huh.
And do you know what I landed on for what I was going to try? And it ended up being so much more powerful than I thought.
What?
3 of the swapping ones.
Really?
Yep. No offense other than the swap. And you
was
can
good?
and you can beat the game on that no problem.
That swap one is better than you would think.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun thing about the game, right? Is that the positioning is so important that it's viable to literally just have a mech
Yeah.
that switches position with people. That's
It's
crazy.
super. If you can get them to hit each other.
Yeah.
What about the rock thrower? I like that one a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because you can block with it. You
Yep.
can block buildings. You can block the Vec emerging. You can hit them.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Even the one where it's like when you shoot ice, it freezes itself. I know we talked about this, but
Yes.
I didn't mind the fact that it froze itself because I would park it on a emerging Vec and then fire off the ice, freeze itself, block the Vec, not take damage. You know, there's a lot of, for the simplicity of the mechanics, there's so much intricacy of the
Right.
interplay between all the things. It's
and
pretty
again,
fun.
it's because it's so small numbers, everything matters.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? I felt like is it Frozen Titans? Is that what they're called?
Yep.
I felt like them with Bethany piloting the cryomech was the only thing that felt a bit overpowered to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can, I know what you're saying, like it's not that bad that it freezes itself, but if it doesn't, you can take one unit out of play every turn,
Yeah.
or you can freeze an ally,
Defend.
you can freeze a
Yep.
building. Like
Yep.
it's just too good if you don't have that penalty of freezing yourself.
Yeah, there are a couple pilots who are really
Yes.
couple pilot combinations that are really good. I like
Camilla with
yeah.
on the Rusting Hulks.
Camilla on the
is
Rusting
too
Hulks is
strong.
really good,
Because she already has the web immunity, which is incredible.
amazing in this game. Yep.
And then if you're immune to smoke on top of it, come on, Camilla. You know I love
Camilla's
you.
a monster.
You're a beast.
Yeah, there was also, I don't know if you ever encountered this interaction, but if you're on the hazardous, what was it? Hazardous mechs? Is that what they were? The ones with the nanobots?
I did not unlock that one.
Oh, what?
I have not. Yeah, I think that's the only one I didn't unlock.
So they like basically their shtick is that they take damage when they attack, but if they kill something, then they get health back.
Okay.
But you can get the like self-destruct mechanism where it'll kill anything by you, and then you just self-destruct and I'm back. And
that works?
Yeah, it works.
Oh, wow.
So, it's
So
kinda
that would
funny.
be pretty.
Because even if you die while attacking an enemy, if they die, then you come back. So
Oh, okay. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
kind
cool.
of that was kind of overpowered too, though.
Yeah.
Because any like boss mech or boss Vec, you could just one shot.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But overall, though, as far as squads, I really like the variety. They have like the right number of squads, and even the custom squads. That's fun to be able to do,
It is. I'm
and the
glad
random squads is great too.
Yeah, I never messed around with random squads, but it does feel like it's a very elegant game. Again, there's enough variety of enemies and mechs and pilots and power-ups and all the map specific elements to like keep things interesting, but nothing feels like superfluous.
Right. It's all kind of pared down.
Yes.
I do think
yeah.
it's interesting comparing it to Final Fantasy Tactics. Again, there's no real height element. The board is
right.
I mean, yes, you fire over things, so there is that aspect, but it's a one,
Yeah.
essentially.
And there are pits and water and stuff, but
Right, but it's all essentially one layer removed. Right, that's all you get. The only difficulty I think that arises from that is With regards to movement on a square grid, this happens in D&D and stuff too, but if there's someone blocking in front of you, if you want to get on the other side of them, you are 2 steps away as the crow flies, but you have to use 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to get around them, which that kind of thing is a little irksome, or can be, because it just seems like the movement aspect of it you can get in situations where you're like
I can't do anything.
Right, yeah.
I do love verticality in games, like in Divinity 2 and in Final Fantasy Tactics as well. There's some maps that it really comes into play in a cool way, and how they have units that can take advantage of it. But I think it would have ruined the elegance of this game.
Yeah.
There's enough complexity here.
Yeah, and this is, again, we've said this 80,000 times, but this is a simple game with a lot of depth.
People.
we're simple men. But it's a simple game, and you don't want to take away from that, which is a credit to the game. That's really interesting that we're like, we like the simplicity of it.
It does feel like a game where I don't want to say it's perfect, but you don't want to mess with it, really.
Yeah.
You don't want to take much out or try to put much new in.
Yeah.
You know?
And regarding the balance of it, the difficulty is very good, and that would be so hard to dial in.
The difficulty curve of this game feels great to me.
And can you imagine trying to dial that in as a developer?
Because there's so much random element to it as well. Yeah. I was going to ask, do you think we can talk a little about maybe the story now? I don't know, have a whole lot on that, but
really
do you think it's implied that you have perfect foreknowledge because you were sent back in time? Do you think you're implied to have that kind? I kind of thought that too, but then it's like, well, is it? Because we're dealing with like a multiverse scenario as well.
Yeah, but
so do you think you have that kind of detailed foreknowledge of exactly what the Vec will do in every battle in all these different multiverses or all these different timelines?
I mean, I guess the implication there would be that if you had that, then I guess where that breaks down is, if you had perfect knowledge every step of the way, then it's a moot point and it's a dumb idea, right? It would really only make sense if you knew for the first round what they would do or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, this is why whenever I'm not a big fan of the whole multiple timeline, multiverse stories in general, because the more you think about it, the more it makes no sense, or the more everything seems meaningless.
Yeah.
If there are infinite timelines, then why the fuck are we even doing this?
Right, yeah.
But maybe there are a finite number of timelines created by some kind of tachyons being sent back and forth when the breach was opened. I don't know.
Yeah.
And none of this is defined, we should say. I mean, the story, such as it is just told very minimally from the different quotes you get from the pilots and CEOs.
Yep.
It's definitely open.
And I think this is another example of this. Multiple times we talked about this as well, but where someone is using the meta nature of gaming to seat the game's story, just like Hades.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like
that's what works really well with this,
right? Just like Outer Wilds, too.
It ties into the structure of the game.
Yep.
And it gives you a reason to have this game be infinitely replayable.
Right.
Because there's this other timeline.
And think about all the games. This is such a common thing that I guess I didn't think about enough before, but Outer Wilds did it. Darkest Dungeon does it.
I always appreciate it. Yeah. When they try to
work it in.
Yeah. Work in this, tie the structure of the game itself into the story.
BioShock did it. Right? As far as like acknowledging the...
Oh, yeah. Well, that was, I mean... No, that was...
Even like Rogue Legacy is another good example of, they have some tie-in to the structure of the game.
The fact that you're playing Descendants and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I always appreciate that effort, but beyond working well as a roguelike that you're replaying, I don't know. When I think about it too much, maybe I'm just too dumb. But
have you seen the movie Tenet?
I've seen it, I guess.
I think I saw it.
I should say, I love Christopher Nolan, but that movie, I think I'm like pretty good at following movies, but man, oh man, I just did not understand what the fuck was going on in that. And do you have any other points about the story? I didn't really delve too deeply into it. Maybe you can kind of parse some details together if you compile all the quotes from the different pilots.
I think there's a couple. Like you said, this is a hands-off kind of fed to you in tidbits type of story,
which I have no problem with.
Right, I like it. Yeah, that's all it needs. It doesn't need more than that.
That's true. Because at the end of the day, this isn't like a story-driven game.
Right, absolutely.
The story is kind of there.
Yeah, it gives
tertiary
you
some
to the game.
Flavor.
Yeah,
and it contributes to the mood and so on. But this is a very pure game, just about getting you into the next match. Kind of.
One thing maybe worth mentioning is, I don't know if this ever happened to you, and I don't think it's maybe not a story element per se, but every once in a while, like you would destroy a mountain and it would be like, oh, there's something ticking under this. Did that ever happen?
What?
To you? Yeah. Do you ever have this happen? I mean, I take it from your reaction. No.
Yes, I did. No, no, I didn't.
So every once in a while, and I think this only happened to me maybe 2 times. Well, during my play, and I played this game quite a bit, probably 30 some hours. Chewing off Mike. Good for you. He's chewing cherries, but he moved his mic away like Tay Zonde over here.
I moved the mic away to breathe in.
Anyway, so yeah, I destroyed a mountain, and it said, "Oh, hey, it's one of the pilots." I'm
the stuttering guy,
the stuttering man. No,
mountain.
Underneath. Now we're making fun of stuttering people. Jeez,
stammer. I call it stammering.
You're English. Is that what they call it there?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, where are we going with this? Mountains. You've heard of them.
They're a thing that exists.
But you destroy these mountains, and one of your pilots will say something like, "Oh, there's something ticking under here." And then if you wait around for 2 turns or whatever, a strange time pod will touch down, and it'll have one of the special pilots in it. So, what? What do you? Special pilots?
Yeah. Sorry.
That's what made you laugh?
It is. I'm sorry.
You're not making a good impression.
I'm sorry. So I don't know that I got the special pilots.
So
it's not that Prospero guy, is it? Because I got him.
I don't know who all is present in those strange ones, but at least one of them was like Insect Man.
Oh, okay.
Who can only speak in like... I can really do this with the mic.
You can. Thank you. And please never do that again.
But he's pretty cool. And then his special is that his repair ability gets replaced with...
His repair actually damages you more.
He gets a 2 damage melee attack instead of repair, which is actually kind of cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
Anyway, and then there's also like a Rockman. So he's the other one I got by doing that.
Jonathan Rockman.
It's Malphite from League of Legends, basically. But yeah, so you can get those, which is kind of a cool little extra little...
Yeah,
kind of,
I guess I never got any of those.
Well, you're not as cool as
I'm
me.
a loser, and I'm bad at this game. Turns out.
Next topic.
Graphics.
There are graphics in this game.
This is a visual game, not based on ASCII art.
It's not Dwarf Fortress.
No, it isn't. The graphics are basic. I don't have much to say about them. They're not particularly inspired. Just like adequate, I would say.
God, we're so snobby. They're not inspired.
Well, no, I know what you mean. We played so many games where like visuals were a big emphasis.
Yeah.
Like, Kentucky Route Zero.
Right.
The visual style was very deliberate. You could tell they spent a lot of their effort on creating these scenes in that game. And here, it's all about the gameplay.
I do, not specifically graphic related, but I do love the fact that they put in the grid... The toggleable grid.
That is nice.
Overlay so that you can say like, oh yeah, move your Janus cannon to A2.
And it makes you feel smart.
Right. Yeah. Magnus Carlsen. See, I can do it too.
Once chess is like training for this game.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
You're done with chess? Okay.
You ready to...
Time to join the big
boy games?
It may be kind of, again, it may be a bit of a turnoff for people.
Yeah, I mean, I
think-
know that when I first, like, I heard people talking about the game, and then I looked at the game, and I'm like, huh, okay.
You're an idiot.
No, but I think, I mean, knowing that there's a good game underneath subpar graphics, not subpar, I don't know. Am I being unfair if I say subpar, do you think?
I think so. I don't think they're subpar. I think they're par.
They're par. They're
right
exactly
down the middle.
par.
I'm not trying to impress anybody. Just going for those nice, clean layup shots. You know?
Are those,
Middle of the pack.
I don't know, sport? Are you using the words
I'm
correctly?
mixing some metaphors, probably.
Okay, I was going to say. We knock over these dominoes until this house of cards falls down.
And checkmate.
Checkmate. Yeah.
Yeah, how about the music and sound? You know, I would have said there's not a lot of music in this game, but I checked the soundtrack on Spotify. There's a decent amount.
This really surprised me. We were looking for music for the intro here, and when you played some of the pieces here on Spotify, I was like,
It's good.
you know, I don't remember it that much, but if you listen to them in isolation, they're pretty
Yeah,
good. I mean,
they are.
maybe I was just too hung up with the intricate gameplay
You
to
were
notice
you were
music.
so engaged by that. You were like in this tunnel vision. And
That's right.
There could have been an earthquake while you were playing this game. You
Seismic
wouldn't have
activity?
noticed.
I would have noticed some seismic activity.
Only in the game, though.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I did enjoy the game's music quite a bit, but I think this is the type of game people may end up muting the music and listening to Spotify.
What?
Just because, I mean, you can only listen to so many loops of a tune,
Yeah.
and this game is so replayable. There were some standouts to me. I like the main theme, "Open a Breach." It's very ominous, and I think it matches the tone of this game very well. I guess that's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna cue it up here in this studio so that we can actually talk a little bit more about it, just so we're on the same page here.
While we're doing that, I should say again, the music was composed by Ben Prunty or Prunty. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he played in like high school band, but he didn't seem to have much formal training in composition. The first soundtrack he did was FTL.
Yeah, which he's got a lot of. He's got almost 4 million listens on Spotify.
Yeah,
for the Space
so
Cruise theme from
He's done
FTL.
well for himself. He's also contributed on games like The Dark Side Detective, which I have in my Steam library, but I haven't played yet. Also Celeste, which I personally didn't like that game too much, but I did love the music. So
He's got some solo albums out here too.
he's doing well for himself. Way to go, Ben.
Oh, did he
Keep it up, buddy. Keep that momentum.
He needed our approval. Yeah, so let's listen to "Open a Breach" here. Okay. I don't have. Yeah, it's good. It doesn't really stand
It's-
out to me that much, but it works in the game. You know.
The other standout to me, and this is all in my mind, it's not like old school video game music of like memorable tunes. It's very, very much, what would you say, atmosphere, contributes. Yeah. You know, it's meant to be in the background.
Yeah,
but
it's supplemental to the game.
Yes.
It's not meant to be in the forefront.
Right. The other standout track for me was Acid, which is an acronym for reasons I don't understand. It plays, I believe, in the Detritus Island, but let's listen to a bit of Acid. just love that pulsing synth sound. I don't know if is it playing arpeggios? Is that what it is?
Arpeggiated synth sound.
Then you kind of gradually get other voices joining.
Yeah, it kind of has that bouncy tone to it too.
The percussion sounds in this sound good to me. I don't know what they are. If they're probably just synth sounds, I guess. But I think his use of percussion is very skillful.
Yeah. This is a good one.
It's a good one. It has a kind of contemplative quality to it to me as well. I don't know if that's just because it's, again, kind of in the background, but it kind of lends itself to just looking at the situation and analyzing things to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's maybe getting a bit esoteric, but
No,
I did like that track quite a bit. Were there any other standouts for you?
Definitely not, considering
No.
I cannot even remember. I'm sure if I listened to some of these, I would recognize them.
You would
but
recognize them.
There's none where I can, like, even having played the game 30 hours, say right now, like, oh yeah, I remember this tune and it stood out to me.
Those are the main two for me.
Yeah.
But it's a good album. I could see it being a good soundtrack to listen to when you're like reading or something like that, you know.
If you can read.
If I knew how to read. Someday. Someday. This is maybe a bit of a shorter episode, but I don't want to give the impression that means we think less of this game. I think this was great.
Yeah, one interesting thing about doing this podcast is that we kind of force ourselves to play games that maybe we wouldn't have.
Absolutely. I think with being in this hobby, it's really easy to get sucked into playing one game for an extended period, in part because games are addictive. They're designed to be addictive. But
right. Particularly certain types of games.
Yes. But there's always a bit of a barrier to starting a new game.
Yeah.
You have a game you could drop into where you know the loop, you know what you're going to be doing. You can kind of get into it without thinking. Learning a new game and just putting forth the effort to allow yourself to be invested in something new. It's enough of a barrier that I think we put it off longer than we should.
Even in a game like this, which is, as games go, very low barrier to entry.
It is. I think some people, and this isn't wrong, but some people don't want to be thinking when they're gaming.
Right.
And, you know, that's cool. I get it. This is not that kind of game. I felt like I was using my brain in a kind of different way than I ever had in a game before.
Yeah.
But it just felt great. And again, the feeling of really, like, if you have a difficult turn, like an shit turn.
You think that the turn is unwinnable.
Like, I'm fucked. I'm done. It's over. And then if you figure out a way to get through it perfectly,
it feels really good.
Ooh, that's an endorphin hit.
It's
right
really
there.
nice.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
We should relay.
It's really
we should relay the experience of you were playing through the hard mode on this game.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun because you got to the last stage.
Yeah, you would think this is a terrible game to play on Twitch, but if you have someone watching you and giving you input, because it's complicated enough that you may not see
a certain set of interactions.
Yeah. And someone says like, "Oh, move your cryo to A2 and hit this," and oh shit, that would be a good move.
Yeah. So we had the experience of Chris playing through the hard mode and got to that last level, and so he was streaming on Discord and we were talking through because you really want to win if you're playing in the hard mode and you get to the end, right? So we were both on there strategizing and it worked really well and it was really fun. It's kind of funny.
It was way more enjoyable
than you would have thought
format.
too.
Yeah.
But I had a couple people join to watch me on Twitch. Ironically, the only time I streamed it was the very first session I played it, where I'm just terrible.
Yeah,
and people, I'm sure
you will be bad when you start this game. You will be bad.
Yeah. But I'm sure that the people watching were like, "What
is wrong?
What is he doing? Why is he so bad at this game? This isn't pleasurable to watch at all." Yeah. And then
we even kind of talked about our philosophies we developed.
With regards
our
to
mental process of analyzing things, like, okay, you look at what is a direct threat now.
Yes.
In which ways can I neutralize more than one threat with a single movement?
Yep.
It was really cool to kind of talk about our own approach.
Yeah. And you start to make little connections of what is worth sacrificing, what isn't. You know,
how badly will this bite me?
right? You have
When I
certain
started-
resources that you have to balance.
Yeah, I started, and you do not want to lose a mech early.
Right,
If
yeah.
you lose them, because I was too quick to sacrifice them, but if you lose a mech early,
gonna get
that's
you.
not a good move generally. If it's like the last turn, obviously you'll lose the pilot, but
Yeah,
you know,
but who gives a shit about people?
machines are more important.
Machines are the important ones.
Let's maybe mention this. Did you have any enemies you hated?
Most hated enemy. Ooh, what would it be? Hold on. I have to. Well, hold on. Okay,
Those
you have
goddamn
one?
things that throw a spider egg and web you.
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah.
things suck. And also the guys that throw the blob bomb things.
The blobs are tough because they move and deal a lot of damage to whatever square they move to, and
Yeah,
even the little ones do a ton of damage.
they do.
The spider ones I don't mind as much because they helped me get a couple of achievements that I needed.
Achievement Hunter over here.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, was that the achievement?
No, that's a way better name. Now the developers are thinking as they listen to this
Man
podcast,
Spider.
obviously, they're thinking to themselves like, that's actually way better. We should have named that achievement Spider-Man.
You're welcome. They missed a big opportunity too. They could have had it again. The whole chess is dead thing. They could have started
And
it with
a
like
Pacific
it's two old
Rim
men. No,
tie-in.
I'm gonna paint the picture here.
Okay.
Two old men at a park bench, just sitting down to a nice game of chess, and all of a sudden there's like a record scratch sound, and these cool high school kids show up and be like, "Hey, what's that?" And they just knock the board up in the air, and then they plop down laptops in front of them and be like, "Why are you playing that old shit? Check out Into the Breach, baby!" And then there's like a "Pwang," like an air horn, and then that's you take it from there.
Good, you're a marketing genius.
You're welcome.
The record scratch
You're
thing,
welcome.
that's never been done before.
Anyway, I'm sorry. We'll edit that out.
Apologies to everyone
Anyone.
on the Into the Breach. Everyone listening, really.
Everyone in the world.
In all timelines
Sorry
of this
for
world.
in this timeline and all others. Very good. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we'll catch
We're
you next
gonna-
time. Hey, what are we playing next?
we're gonna
huh?
go-
What are
we're
we? Huh?
Our next game, I think we're returning
Once more.
from
Return of the Oberdin is the name of it.
that's the next one.
I was going to say the Ballad of Oberdin, but it's Return of the Oberdin.
Oberdin.
So check it out if you want to play along with us.
Play
If
along at
not,
home.
Yeah. Cool.
If not,
Cool.
eat my butt.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.